Let's start with a feeling I think many of you know all too well. It's that central, destabilizing reality of financial life in retirement, where the thrill of finally buying something you've wanted for years is often instantly replaced by a sharp, suffocating sense of panic that makes you wonder if you've just made a catastrophic mistake. It's a tough feeling. But today, we're going to explore exactly why that happens, and more importantly, how to get that joy of spending back. You know, this right here, this quote really gets to the heart of it. It's a powerful, almost universal experience for anyone who's made that big switch from earning and saving to, well, spending. That pure excitement you feel for a new car or a dream vacation or even just a beautiful piece of furniture, it can just vanish. And in its place is this cold dread. It can feel like a personal failure, but I'm here to tell you it's not you, it's biology. And this is a really crucial point. What you're experiencing isn't just a little case of buyer's remorse. It actually has a name. It's a recognized phenomenon called the fixed resource anxiety peak. You see, your brain understands on a really deep primal level that your financial resources are now finite. That well isn't being refilled with a paycheck every couple of weeks. So every big purchase can feel less like you're gaining something and more like you're losing something, permanently. So let's dive into the psychology behind all this. Why does our brain react with such drama? Honestly, understanding the why is the most important first step to figuring out how to manage it. We're going to take a look under the hood at what's really going on when you make a spending decision in retirement. Okay, the big idea at play here is something called loss aversion. It's not new, but man, does it get turned up to 11 in retirement. Behavioral economists have shown us that our brains are just hardwired to avoid losses way more than they are to seek out gains. Think about it. The pain you'd feel from losing a $100 bill is so much worse than the joy you'd get from finding one on the street. This chart really lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? That imbalance is real. Research has actually shown that the psychological sting of a loss is roughly twice as powerful as the pleasure of an equivalent gain. So when you spend, say, $1,000, the pain signal it triggers in your brain can be twice as strong as the pleasure you get from whatever you bought. Your brain sees that spending as a threat to your security. Well, the joy, that can feel pretty temporary. And for anyone who is now living off their savings, that gap becomes a chasm, seriously. The pain of spending doesn't just feel twice as bad, it can feel 10 times worse. And that's because every dollar you spend can feel like you're chipping away at your future security, at your independence, and maybe even at the legacy you want to leave behind. And there are 3 things that really pour gasoline on this fire. First, you've got no future income buffer. For decades, if you made a little mistake, the next paycheck would soften the blow. Not anymore. Now, your savings account is basically your longevity insurance. Second, there's the legacy burden. You might feel like spending on yourself is somehow taken away from your kids or grandkids. And finally, as we get older, we can become a little more vulnerable to those high-pressure sales tactics. So when you mix that supercharged loss aversion with these 3 other factors, what do you get? You get this predictable outcome we're calling the post-purchase remorse crash. Instead of actually enjoying your new purchase, you end up just thinking about the money you spent, second-guessing your decision, and feeling this deep sense of anxiety. Okay, so that's the problem, and it's a big one, rooted deep in our biology and our new financial reality. But here's the good news. There is a solution. And it's not about trying to fight your brain's instincts. It's about learning to work with them through a really structured, logical system. Now, this is maybe the single most important idea in this entire explainer, so I want you to really let it sink in. The regret you feel is not a flaw. It is not a sign that you're bad with money. It's your brain's ancient preservation instinct kicking in, trying to protect your finite resources to make sure you're safe long-term. It's a feature, not a bug. And once we start seeing that regret as a protective signal, we can stop being ruled by it and start managing it. The tool we're going to use is called the Purchasing Friction Protocol, or PFP. The name kind of says it all, right? It's about intentionally adding just a little bit of friction, a little structured delay and thought into your buying process. It's how you satisfy that preservation instinct. The protocol is built on 3 really simple but incredibly powerful pillars. First, there's the 72-hour cooling ritual. Think of this as a non-negotiable waiting period. Second, the utility audit, which is a very logical way to figure out if a purchase is actually worth it. And third, the time horizon validation, which just makes sure the purchase fits into your big picture financial plan. You know, the utility audit might be my favorite part of this whole thing because it takes all that vague anxiety and replaces it with cold, hard data. So let's say you want to buy a really nice, high-end espresso machine. It's $1,200. Your anxiety alarm is screaming at you. But with the audit, you think, okay, I'm probably going to use this every single day for the next 5 years. That's over 1,800 uses. The cost per cup is suddenly, what, around 65 cents? All of a sudden, that trade of your money for that daily experience seems totally fair, even brilliant. You're giving your logical brain the data it needs to calm down that emotional, fearful part of your brain. So now we have the protocol. We understand the 3 pillars. But how do we actually weave this into our daily lives without it feeling like some big, complicated chore? Well, this section is all about the practical, real-world operating manual for putting the purchasing friction protocol into action.
And that's the key question, isn't it? I mean, it's one thing to understand a theory, but it's a whole other thing to apply it when you're standing in a store or looking at a travel website online with your credit card in your hand. We need a clear, repeatable process.
So here are 4 simple strategies that really bring this protocol to life. First, create a joy budget. This is money specifically set aside for things that bring you pleasure. It helps eliminate the guilt. Second, use these second opinion pause. Just talking a purchase through with a spouse or a trusted friend forces you to use logic. Third, set a comparison fatigue boundary, which we'll talk about in a sec. And fourth, always check the return policy. It gives your brain a safe exit.
Let's just focus on this third step for a minute because it feels so counterintuitive, right? We think more research always leads to better decisions, but studies show that it often just leads to paralysis and more regret. By limiting your research to, say, the top 3 TVs or the top 3 vacation packages, you prevent your brain from getting exhausted. You make a good choice from a pre-vetted list, and then you move on, avoiding that what-if anxiety that comes from having way too many options. Now, following these steps isn't really just about making smarter purchases. It's about a fundamental shift in your entire mindset. It's about moving from a place of fear and anxiety to a place of confidence and control. Really, it's about achieving what we call sovereignty over your financial life. I want to circle back to this idea one more time because it is just so important. The next time that feeling of panic rises up after you buy something, don't scold yourself. Instead, thank your brain. Seriously, it's doing its job. It's trying to protect you. And the difference is, now you have the tools to look at that signal, check the data, and calmly tell your brain, hey, thank you, I've got this. This one is safe. And this is the transformation we're really aiming for, moving away from being an anxious spender and becoming a confident curator of your lifestyle. Instead of reacting with panic, you can be proactive with a protocol. And instead of making decisions driven by guilt, you can make decisions that are driven by data and lead to joy. This right here is the ultimate goal. Financial sovereignty in retirement doesn't mean having unlimited money, not at all. It means having the agency, the confidence, and the system to use the money you do have to build the life you've always wanted, without all the fear and regret. It's about you being in the driver's seat. Okay, we've covered the why, the what, and the how. Now let's bring it all home with one simple, actionable thing you can commit to doing today.
So if there's one single thing to take away from our time together, it's this. That panic you feel? It's a biological alarm designed to preserve your resources. And the purchasing friction protocol, that's the system you use to check the data, confirm a purchase is actually safe, and then consciously turn that alarm off.
And it all starts with this one number, 72. 3 days. It's such a simple, powerful tool that costs you absolutely nothing, but a little bit of patience. And it can save you thousands of dollars and a ton of anxiety. It's the first and most important step in the entire protocol. So here is my gentle challenge to you. Think of one significant purchase you're considering right now. Could be anything. And before you do anything else, just commit to waiting 72 hours. Just pause. Use that time to run a quick utility audit, talk it over with someone you trust. That simple act of intentional friction is the very first step toward rewiring your entire response to spending. So as we wrap up, let's remember this. That sudden panic you feel after a purchase. That's your brain's way of protecting your future in a world without new paychecks. It is not a sign that you're losing your judgment. And the most helpful insight we've talked about is the power of that purchasing friction protocol, using the 72-hour cooling ritual and the utility audit to move the decision into the clear light of logic. By choosing to spend with sovereignty and structure, you secure the vibrant, worry-free retirement you have worked so hard to build. It's about spending with sovereignty so you can truly live with joy.